I always knew my sister Megan was jealous of me. Growing up, if I got a bike, she wanted a better one. If I made honor roll, she'd remind everyone she made it too, even the semester she didn't. But I never thought jealousy could turn into something criminal. I found that out 3 days before my wedding. My name is Claire. I'm 29, and for the last year, I'd been planning my wedding to my fiancé, Daniel. We booked a venue 8 months in advance, a small vineyard about 2 hours outside the city, the kind of place that only takes one wedding a weekend. Non-refundable deposit, the works, it was perfect. Rolling hills, string lights, the whole dream. 2 days before the wedding, I got a call from the venue coordinator. She sounded confused. "Hi, is this Claire? I just wanted to confirm, you called this morning to change the guest count to 40 and to move the date up to Friday instead of Saturday?" I hadn't called anyone. I told her that, and she went quiet for a second, then said something that made my stomach drop. "That's strange. The woman who called had all your information, your date of birth, your fiancé's name, even your emergency contact. She said she was you." I asked for a name. The coordinator hesitated, but eventually told me the number that called was saved in her system from an earlier call, 3 weeks ago, from someone claiming to be my wedding planner. I didn't have a wedding planner. I was doing everything myself with a shared spreadsheet. I called the number back myself, standing in my kitchen with my hands shaking. It rang twice. My sister picked up. For a second, neither of us said anything. Then she laughed, actually laughed, and said, "Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't figure it out until after." I asked her what the hell she was talking about. She told me, calm as anything, that she and her boyfriend had decided they wanted to get married at that exact vineyard, on that exact weekend, because she'd seen my venue tour photos on Instagram 8 months ago and fell in love with the place. When she called and found out it was fully booked for the entire season, she didn't book somewhere else. She decided to take mine. Her plan, as she explained it to me, proudly like she was telling me about a clever business deal, was to call the venue pretending to be me, move my wedding to Friday, quietly swap the vendor contracts to her own name using details she'd pulled from my emails, which she'd apparently been reading for weeks because I'd never changed my email password since we were teenagers sharing a family laptop. Then on Saturday, when Daniel and I and 200 guests showed up, we'd find out the venue had no record of our booking, while Megan and her boyfriend got married Friday night in my slot, under my flowers, using my caterer, my florist, and my photographer, all of whom had unknowingly been rebooked to a new bride whose ID matched a name close enough to mine that nobody double-checked. I want to be clear, this is not a plan a normal person makes. This took weeks of research. She'd been in my email. She'd called my photographer pretending to be my assistant to get the contract renegotiated for a Friday date. She'd even called my mother, our mother, and told her the wedding moved to Friday, so my own mom had already changed her flight. The only reason it fell apart is because the coordinator noticed the new Claire on the phone didn't know the name of my own grandmother, who the vineyard was named after, in a personal note I'd put in the original contract. Megan didn't know that detail. It was a small crack, but it was enough. I hung up on her without saying another word. Then I called the venue back, then Daniel, then, an hour later, my mother, who was horrified and immediately unchanged her flight. Here's what still gets me. The venue was willing to work with me, because Megan's identity theft had been so thorough and documented. Recorded calls, forged email chains, a fake ID scan she used to check in a hotel room under my name that same week. The coordinator had a full paper trail. I filed a police report that same night, not because I wanted my sister in jail, but because I wanted it on record, permanently, in case she ever tried something like this again with anyone else. The wedding happened. Saturday, on time, with my flowers, my caterer, my photographer. Megan wasn't there. Neither was my mother's forgiveness, not for a long time. Megan tried to frame the whole thing afterward as a joke that went too far, which is its own kind of insane, considering there's a police report with her name on identity fraud charges. It's been a year and a half now. We don't speak. My mother does occasionally, but always ends the call more tired than when she started. Daniel still can't fully wrap his head around it. He keeps saying, "But she's your sister," like that explains anything. I used to think the worst thing about weddings was the stress of planning them. Now I know the worst thing is finding out 3 days before that the person who was supposed to be your maid of honor had already picked out her own dress to wear in your place.